We are live.
Ooh. Wow. This is popping my live cherry, I think, a little bit.
Why haven't you gone live before?
Live was with you, which was at the webinar that we did.
All
like,
right.
that's how much I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go live, and then I just don't do it. So Janine would be really pissed at me, I think. Janine Cummings, who we interviewed on the podcast, she'd be like, how dare you? You need to just get in on it.
How very dare you? I'm a little bit pissed at you, I have to say. So
Why?
But here we go. So we're doing something a little bit different today for anybody who is watching us live and going, who are these two? What are they doing? We decided we're going to record this episode live. And you will find out why later. It's actually, we're getting really meta here with some of our tips and tricks for your social media marketing. So Clem, would you like to take us away?
Yes. So at the time of this live, Black Friday has zoomed past again. And I don't know about you, Crystal, but I'm certainly feeling the aftermath of the tsunami of campaigns that I've seen for Black Friday.
So many emails.
Oh my God, yeah, so many. Like the number of unsubscribes I did was nuts, and the number of shopping clicks I did was insane too. But just like that never-ending mountain of laundry, which I've got like just behind me, keeping our business is buzzing is a continuous journey. It is a never-ending story. So after this whirlwind of Black Friday or any big holiday or event for that matter, things have a tendency of going a little bit quiet. You know, there's always that little bit of a lull, like, you know, it's the, you know, after the party, you need to kind of rest up and cure that hangover, as some people get. So your social feeds were once buzzing. They're now really peaceful, just like when your kids are napping or when they're getting into something that they shouldn't. And, you know, it's just super quiet. And it's not just you that needs that quiet moment, that lull. It's also your followers and your customers that need that breather. We're all just catching our breaths, getting ready for the next big thing. So whether you've been all over your marketing like a superhero for Black Friday, or you took a step back to really concentrate on your campaigns and your business, now's the time to spark those conversations up again. So that's what we're going to be talking about today in this live and in this podcast episode. We are diving into the nitty-gritty of reigniting that engagement that we all just absolutely need across our marketing channels. So we've got the tips, we've got the tricks you need to get those likes, those comments, and those shares rolling again. So go grab a cuppa if you can. If you are listening to the podcast, hit pause and go and grab that cuppa that you might need to reheat this morning, or just sit back and relax and let's just get into it, Krishla.
Sounds good. Okay. And the reason we're doing this, as Clem said, is because Black Friday here has just finished up. But this conversation, these tips, tricks, and tools you can actually use anytime you've perhaps had a launch or a sale, sometime when you've really been just broadcasting to your audience, making it all about you. The aim of this is really to reestablish that two-way conversation, to get that engagement happening, and to boost your account kind of back up. Because I find, especially after I've done a course launch or something like that, my engagement absolutely tanks. It is rubbish. And that's completely normal because you have been making it all about you. And also, engagement isn't the measure of success at that time. What the measure of success is people leaving the platform and buying from you. So that's okay that your engagement has dropped, provided that, you know, you've seen that boost in your sales or your website traffic or whatever it is that you were promoting. But of course, we want to get that engagement back to keep our account ticking along nicely, so that we can then have an audience who wants to hear from us next time we have a sale, next time we have a launch.
Absolutely.
These tips also apply if you've taken a break from posting. And I hope that everybody listening to this or watching this video is looking at scheduling some downtime for the holidays. So at least a few days where you're just not going to post. Perhaps you've got some backup content ready to go. And in fact, this time last year, we did a session on this. I think this was all the way back at episode 2.
Yeah,
about
and I think we recorded it around this time last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So how to take a break over the holidays and so that you don't experience social media burnout. So if you're thinking about taking a break, maybe head back and listen to that episode. But yeah, let's now look at what you do once you decide to come back. So after that sale, after that break from posting, how are we going to actually switch from that broadcast mode and making it all about us to rebuilding that relationship and the two-way conversation? So Clem, kick us off with the type of content that we should be sharing.
So the big thing is that community focused content. So anyone that, if you think about a community, the reason it thrives is because everybody can relate to each other and the conversations just naturally flow. So you want to focus on that community building content, not necessarily the selling, the hard sell. You've been doing that for the last, few weeks or month, or you also might be doing that again in the next couple of weeks with Christmas coming up, and then you'll be right back in this same position after Christmas. So think about what's going to spark that conversation, whether that's publicly or in the DMs. That can be stuff that is highly relatable, but it can also be something that is highly controversial. So if there is, say, like a golden rule or something within your industry or whatnot that you just don't necessarily agree with it, take it and run with it. That is going to really drive comments, not just from customers that might agree with you, but also colleagues that might agree with you or even disagree with you, and really just drive that conversation. There's so many people that do this really, really well. But the one that stands apart, I think, is what's her name? Erica, the business coach. She really talks about being controversial and using that to create your iconic brand. She's a really good one to follow. We'll put that in the show notes in the podcast for sure. Another one that works really well, and I've noticed this working incredibly well on TikTok, is funny parody style content, especially if you're in our age group with parents. If you think about, say, like those made for TV ads, doing parodies like that. There's a lot of corporate TikTokers that do it really well, where they have that sarcastic vibe with them. And it just like, you find it so hilarious, but you're like, this is me in my element in my office. This guy gets it. Those controversial, those funny parody style types of stuff, adding that sarcasm works so well for this kind of thing. And if you're not into trying to be that comedian, or sarcasm is just not your forte, behind the scenes is your ticket. Like, that's what you want to be doing. We spoke about this about the social, what is it? This is Sprout Social Index report, and where they were saying that people want to see more transparency with brands. Like, this is what they really want to see, is that enjoyable content, and they want to see the behind the scenes. So show the aftermath of your Black Friday sale, whether it was good or bad. You might see that, good success. When you're sharing success, people want to celebrate with you. And when you have made mistakes, or when you've really learned a lesson, people want to see that, and they will find that relatable as well. You wouldn't believe how many people go, I've been through that. This is what I did. Here's my piece of advice. You'll find that community, especially when you're showing the mistakes and the hurdles that you've overcome. And that, again, it also involves relatable content. So if you're comfortable with showing your kids on your social media channel, show what it's like running your business, taking care of your kids, and getting ready for the holiday season. All three. It is insanely hectic. I mean, Krishna and I have conversations that last forever about, like, what are we doing here? What's the kind of Christmas gift you're getting your mother-in-law? I've got no clue about this. Like, we talk about all of this stuff just before we went live. But this is all stuff that we know that our listeners would love to see as well. So we might be sharing that on our own channels. So that community focused content is really key. Like, we're all people, we're all human, a lot of us are all in the same position. Show that you are in that position and that you're in the trenches with everybody else.
Yes. Todd Collins is another one who talks about controversial content. We had Todd back on the podcast back at episode 10, if you'd like to check that out. He is just a wealth of wisdom and enthusiasm when it comes to all things marketing. Gary Vee also talks about the relatable side of content as well, and showing yourself as a complete person. So you have interests, hobbies, things that you do outside of what you're known for work-wise that you can actually share in your content. And it's those little personal points of connection that make you memorable, that make you into a 3D person, not just the speakerhead for your business. So yeah, I think that's really great content. Love that. Yeah, and relatable content. And if anybody does need a Christmas gift idea, hit us up on Instagram in the DMs or TikTok. We'll share the one that we were chatting about today because it is a really good one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, teaser, just a little teaser there. But yeah, do you know what's really funny? I'm just going to go on a tangent here. That used to be my superpower. Before having children, it was thinking of gifts for people. I used to be so good at that. But since having children, the mental load or what have you, I really struggle with presents now. And I don't know what's happened. Something's just changed. And it's the same as meal planning, I think, as well. Like, I don't care. I just can't think of it. Gone.
I think it's our creative juices have been focused on something else, and we don't have the mind space to think of that creative stuff that we were so used to doing routinely. I think I honestly think that's what it is.
Just total brain drain. But anyway, back to the podcast.
So what you wanted to talk about stories, because stories are, is it the GOAT or the GOAT, the greatest one of all time on Instagram. And that's a really great engagement boosting area on the gram. So why don't you go ahead and go in on it and tell us about it?
Yeah. Instagram stories are, as you were saying, the GOAT when it comes to social media engagement. They are actually just your best friend. And especially if you've been away for a while, you need to rebuild that engagement, get those conversations happening again. I would definitely recommend that you start out on stories for a few reasons. First of all, stories are seen by your existing followers. So these are people who already know and like you. That's why they're following you. So you're more likely to get that engagement because it's like talking to a friend. So definitely start out there rather than some of the content formats that tend to be seen by a cold audience, such as Instagram Reels, for example. So I would say start out with your stories. The other really great thing about stories is they're quick and easy to do. Yeah. If you've had an extended break or you're feeling burnt out from doing a launch of some kind or a sale, you know how tiring that can be, just pumping out all of that content, showing up, I say in inverted commas, and just being on the whole time. That's really, really tiring. And often after I've done a course launch or something, I'm like, I never want to post anything again. Yeah. So stories are a really nice way just to ease back into that content and to reconnect with your existing followers, because we want to keep them as followers. There's always this idea of going out, getting more followers. We need to nurture the relationships that we have with our existing followers. So I would say start with stories for sure.
I've got a question. Do you think, say, if you're in the wheelhouse of like, yeah, you should really just be posting stuff about your business on your feed, do you think stories is a great place to show your personality so that you kind of almost keep your themes separate in a way, where you're not showing your personal self on your feed, but you're showing it in your stories because you know that's where your followers are there and they're engaging? Is that a good idea?
Yeah. Look, and I wouldn't have them so distinct. I think you definitely want to show yourself on your feed a little. But it's that, like you were saying before, that behind the scenes kind of content, the content that maybe is timely and won't be relevant in a day or a week or a month's time. That's perfect for your stories. And of course, that relationship building content, because another key reason why I'm recommending stories here, stories have a number of inbuilt engagement features that make it really, really easy to pump up your account engagement. One of them being the ability just to message someone directly from stories. So you put up a story, there's that little field at the bottom of your story where people can send you a direct message straight from the story. That doesn't exist over on the feed or with Reels and what have you, where you need to comment publicly. And for some people, they might not want to comment publicly, depending on what it is that you're talking about. So I think that makes stories so powerful. There's a bunch of other really great story features that are definitely going to help you boost that engagement as well. We're going to talk about polls shortly because they are chef's kiss when it comes to engagement. But there's one that you might have actually overlooked. And I know I forget about this one too, but actually this is a really great one for you to try out for your business. And that is the Add Yours sticker. And how it works is you're basically creating collaborative content with other users. So you put up a story, it could be a video, it could be a static post, and then you can add the Add Yours sticker. And what it does is it allows people to add their own story related to whatever it is that you're talking about. So for example, you can put up a picture of your Christmas tree and you can say, show me your Christmas tree, and people can add photos or videos of their own Christmas tree. The Add Yours sticker has actually now become available for Instagram Reels as well, which is very exciting. Yeah. But yeah, again, we're starting with stories because they're easy, they're quick, they don't require too much thought, and you don't have to write a caption for them, which is another great thing if you've been writing a lot of content. But yeah, try that one. I think that's a really great one. Another way that you could use the Add Yours sticker is perhaps to show some of those Christmas present ideas that we were chatting about before. So what are you getting your kids or what have you? Depending on how old your children are, this may not be a safe option. Or show us what your office looks like after your Black Friday sale, or your launch, your product launch. And again, it's a good way to share that behind the scenes content, but also to get other people actively engaging rather than just passively consuming your content.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I think that on TikTok, the Add Yours button is now sometimes in your profile. So if you go to your profile, there'll be a little Add Yours feature just underneath your little byline. Which was what they had as the questions sticker, I think, before.
Right.
Yeah. So that they've copied Instagram and done it as an Add Yours button so that you can put in your question or, motivate people to engage by creating their own TikTok about the same theme as you're talking about too.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So speaking of new features, this is the next thing that we want to discuss about how to boost your engagement after, when a lull period comes. And that is using new features. Now, you can do this at any point in time during the year, but social media channels because social media channels are posting new features all the time. If you get access to a new feature, use it. The platform will reward you. And why is that? Is because these platforms live off of data. The only way that they're going to know a feature works and that people want it is that if people use it. So the way that they reward people to really start using it and embracing it is by giving your accounts a little bit of a boost when you do use those new features. So one of the new features I think we were talking about was sharing comments to stories is a new one on Instagram. Is that right?
Yeah. So previously, you were able to do something similar with your reels, whereby say somebody commented on your post, instead of just responding with text, you can actually create a reply video or a reply reel that has that little comment up on screen. You might have seen these before, and then you can respond to them verbally. You can now do the same for stories. So again, back to those good old stories where you can take a comment or a question that somebody might have asked you in the comments, instead of just responding to that one person in the comments, use that as a prompt for creating a story and to create content that multiple people are going to be able to see and consume. And as you said, Clem, it's a new feature, so I'm sure Instagram is going to love you using that. And you can do the same thing on TikTok, can't you?
Yes, you can. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a feature that was copied from, like, Instagram copied it from TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
Another thing that you can do is replying to Reels or TikToks by a video, which I think is, that's kind of commonplace now, I think, but people really don't embrace that very well. And that's definitely a feature I think that is worth highlighting, is you're creating brand new video content by replying to a comment. So reply to the comment as well if you want in a few words, but keep it in the back of your mind and go and reply with another TikTok or a reel saying, hey, this is the answer to that question as well.
It's a great option if you're stuck for what to post. Go through and see what people are commenting, and that'll give you some ideas.
Yeah, for sure. And that like it also will show that personality side as well. If you're like, hey, that's a great question. Blah 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 blah. You know, that shows your personality side, and that you are also listening to your audience big time, which is what people want to do. We all in the end just want to be heard. So shall we talk about polls?
Yes, polls are such a good engagement booster, and I'm sure everybody knows this by now, but are you actually using them? Because when I am working with my students and my clients, quite often we'll talk about polls and they're like, oh yeah, I always forget about those. So this is your reminder to use polls, and you can do polls on a number of different platforms. Instagram stories, obviously, and you can create a poll about anything. I did a poll today about what this episode should be about. We will link, can I link to it? No, it's a story. I can't link to it in the show notes, but basically we came up with a couple of options about what we could do this session on and ask people to vote. It can be that easy. You can do this for new products, services, anything where people can cast their vote. And it's a great way to get just those micro engagements. People love to share their opinions, love to share their thoughts. And then you can take this a step further and actually send a message to every person who responds to your poll and start that conversation and get it going. And it's just such a nice, easy in to their DMs that doesn't seem salesy or kind of premeditated or ick. It's just a natural conversation starter.
Now, I've got a really good, it's not really, it's a hack. Kind of, I hate the word hack, but it's a really good way to get that engagement and drive it on the boomer daddy of social platforms, LinkedIn. Which I know, Krishla, that you still haven't warmed up to it quite yet, but I'm guarantee you it is the boomer daddy. You may eventually think of it as the Pablo Pascal of social media channels. You just
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, that too.
Never.
I will convert you soon enough. So with LinkedIn, you can do polls as well. With LinkedIn, the polls work a bit differently, where you can have that caption and then your poll comes out looking like, I guess, the post, right? So what I recommend, and I've seen Gary Vee do this, and I tried it and it went nuts. So instead of having your poll question as the poll question, put the question within your caption to give context, and have it as a general question of like, what do you think? Like, if it's, what do you think about XYZ? So just have, what do you think? When you have it like that, usually people will just go straight to the poll and vote. They won't even read your caption. But if you have it as a general question, they have to go and read your caption to get that context, to know what they're voting on. So you end up not only getting the click on the poll, but you get the click on the caption as well to read that. So you're driving even further engagement. And then on LinkedIn, you still have the opportunity of creating, of adding comments as well. Because I think you can only put 3 options on polls on LinkedIn. So a lot of people, what they'll do is a third option, if not A or B, comment below your thoughts or something like that. So when you do that, you are doubling on your engagement already as it is. But then if someone puts in a comment as well, that again gives you the opportunity, the same as what you advised to do on Instagram, of DMing them and going, I really liked your comment about, on my poll, and just keep that conversation going, or even doing it publicly as a comment. But it's just, you've got 4 ways in that one post practically to drive engagement, to drive those conversations and bringing them back up to the levels that they were before your big event. So that is my little LinkedIn hack for the boomer daddy of social media channels, LinkedIn.
I like that. LinkedIn does have a few little hacks like that, doesn't it? Like not putting the link to a blog post, for example, in the post itself, but popping it in the caption. Like there's lots of little tweaks like that people do, which I love. I love when people all kind of do the same thing, and you just think, is the platform going to catch on? But they don't seem to.
No, but do what you think is best as well. Like if you think it is just better to put the link into your post, then do it. Like, the world's your oyster when it comes to every social media channel. But yes, that's another one, that try putting the link in the comments, or the link like 10 minutes or so after you post, and see if the engagement works differently as well. So extra little hack there for the Boomer Daddy social channel, LinkedIn.
Okay, our fifth tip, number 5, is to go live. That was not intentional to have that rhyme, but there you go. And that is the reason we are live today, just, again, to give our Facebook page a little bit of a boost, for a bit of fun, to try something different. And that's really what social media and marketing is about. Sometimes you just got to throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, see what works, and push yourself out of your comfort zone. So we thought, rather than just record this in the privacy of our recording studio, instead we're going to go live. We're going to try out a different format and see how this goes in terms of engagement on our Facebook page, but maybe also on this particular podcast episode. But going live is good on any platform. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of those platforms reward you when you go live with push notifications telling your followers that you are actually going live, which you don't get those push notifications on pretty much any other content. So amazing. And, you can use these in all different ways. So you can do a session like we're doing now, or you could do this as a bit of an interview. If, Clem was my special guest here today, we can do a bit of a Q&A or an interview. You can do this with your customers, your clients, your suppliers, venues, you name it, your biz buddies. Find someone and go live with them, especially if you're a little bit shy.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one. And I mean, admittedly, I think we should admit to everybody here now at this point, we also went live because we mess up quite a lot when it's just you and me when we're recording a podcast. And Krishla was saying, anytime I go live, I don't make a mistake and I don't fudge up as much as I do when we record. And I was a little bit nervous, but we have so far not messed up once.
Don't jinx us.
No, touch wood.
Relatable content. So we're mixing two
relatable content.
Yeah, relatable content. And what's also great about going live is it is the epitome of that two-way conversation. So if you are going live, you've got people asking questions in the comments while you're live, and you have the capacity to answer them. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky depending on what platform you're on. But you're actually then having a conversation with someone as opposed to you just pushing out your thoughts and opinions. So it can be a great way for gathering intel and information about your audience and for creating that real, connection, that relationship with the real people that follow you. They're not just numbers that you collect. Yeah. So go live. If you haven't done so already, I challenge you. To those people listening, I just made a mistake then. See, challenge is what I was trying to say. I challenge you to go live before the end of 2023. And if you're listening to this in the new year, you know what to do. Go live today. Yeah.
And if you need any tips or info, or you want to learn a little bit more about going live, we have an amazing episode with Janine Cummings about going live. She talks about tools. She talks about bottlenecks and such. I don't remember what episode number that was, though.
We'll link to it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll be linking to it in the show notes. But I think she's also running a live challenge as well. So definitely go check her out for sure.
Yeah, Video for Bosses is her Instagram account. Yeah, and she is a wealth of information and encouragement as well. I think that's the really cool thing about Janine.
Yeah, big time. Now, going live is a great way of being proactive to drive that engagement. Other ways that you can be proactive in driving your engagement is engaging on other people's content. If you're still a little bit burnt out and you're not ready to just go whole hog with, creating more content of behind the scenes, relatable, that kind of stuff, do what I do when I'm having an off day on LinkedIn. Comment. Go skim your feed, comment. Reply to stories, reply to other people's comments, keep the conversation going in the comments. Your comment sections are all little parties that you can go and hang out in and make friends, find potential clients. It's the same thing on, say, like Facebook groups, etc. It's just a super nano version of it, I find. So comment. And it's one of the big tips that Ella Orr talks about in our sleaze-free strategies to grow on LinkedIn, which is episode 39.
39 or 38?
I think
somewhere around there.
38, 39. It's a few episodes back, but you know what? You'll find it, I'm sure. So comment is a really, really, really good one. And it's something that you can do at any time. Like there's not a specific time that's best to be commenting. You know, yeah, sure, you might post a video and it's, yes, engage on the channel. That's all well and good, but you can do comments and scrolling through your feed and engaging with other people at any point in time. You don't need to just be posting something to go and do a few comments. Another one is DMs. DMs is a one-on-one conversation with somebody. That is absolute gold when it comes to engagement. It's, you know, commenting or DMing people who follow you to just say like, hey, thanks a lot for that comment, for example, makes them feel really special. You know, we mentioned, you know, when we were just talking about LinkedIn polls, that's like one of those ways that you can really start that conversation. You might end up getting a new client or customer out of it. You never know. Or people that have commented on your post, or even other business owners and industry friends. This is the time of year when we should be checking in with each other and just going, how are you doing in the Black Friday trenches? You know, are you going okay? Are you burnt out? Is there anything that you want to talk about? I salute you, sort of thing. Like this is the time of year when it's really worth checking in on your industry buddies to see how they're doing. And DMs is a really good way of doing that for sure. What can you think of any other proactive engagement tips?
Yeah, well, I think as you were saying about the DMs, it's also a really great opportunity to find potential collaboration opportunities.
Yeah.
So if you're messaging your complementary but non-competing biz buddies, so for example, I might be messaging my photographer friends, my copywriting friends, website design friends, and about what they've got coming up, what's going on in their business. And this is where having those conversations, we can actually find ways that we could possibly work together formally through something like an affiliate partnership where I promote their products or services and vice versa, or just informally with some shout outs. Yeah, something as simple as, hey, go check out, you know, my buddy Carly from Technobird who's running an SEO audit sale or something, you know, along those lines. So I think it's really nice just to find out what other people are doing and to get great ideas from that. And actually, somebody who I'm an affiliate for, Nadine Nethery, who is from Can Do Content, we heard her on the podcast a little while back. She is a strategic copywriter and she's doing something really, really fun at the moment. She sent an email out this morning about it because I am one of her paid affiliates because love what she does. She has hidden on her website, this is such a cool idea, little pictures of herself wearing Santa hats. And they're hidden all around her website. And I think then they come with like discount codes or free gifts or things. And so the idea is that we drive people to her website and say, hey, go find these and you'll get these little presents on her website, which is the cutest idea. I know, it's so, so cool. So look out for my stories at Shall We Social for that, because I'll be sharing her little promotion. But what a fun way to work with another business owner. Yeah, I was like, oh, I wish I thought of that first. It's such a good idea. But these are the type of kind of fun things you can do together with your biz buddies, have a little bit of fun that goes beyond the kind of usual sharing a post or posting a story or something as well. So yes, there are lots and lots of benefits to do this. But again, you know, the engagement will also be one of those lovely side effects that you get.
Now, you wanted to talk about working with the platforms that you're on. Now, how does this help with engagement?
Well, if you know, people are very quick to blame the algorithm. I say in inverted commas. See, I can't speak. They're quick to blame the algorithm when things don't go right. Yeah. But actually, when you have an understanding of the platforms that you're using, the algorithms, plural, and how these things work behind the scenes, you can actually work with them to ensure that your content gets seen by more people, gets seen by the right people, that you can play by their rules and then as such be rewarded. And as you spoke about earlier, you know, we know that platforms love you using their new features, so use them. Another way that you can work with platforms, and in particular Instagram,
Mhm.
is to keep people on the platform. So
Mm.
Instagram, as you know, you can't add a link, a URL that takes people off of the platform anywhere except for in your bio. So you can't just have a link from your
Yep.
post or from your reel or you can from your story now. But what you probably have noticed when you post a story with a link, the engagement's much lower. Yeah. Because
Mhm.
Instagram, while they provide you with the link sticker, they really don't want people leaving the platform.
Yeah.
So what can you do? Because even though you may have just finished one sale or promotion, or perhaps you've been away for a while, you might have something else that you need to sell or some information that you need to share with people that is going to take them off of the platform. So we
Yeah,
need to
okay.
get a little bit smarter about this, right? And the way that we do this. And you've probably seen this a bit in your feed. And maybe for those listening, you haven't realized exactly what it is that you're seeing. A lot of the creators now, myself included, use a tool called ManyChat, and I will link to it in the show notes because, full disclosure, I am a paid affiliate. It's a bit like that saying that we were talking about before, Clem. If I see it, I'll just buy it in another color. If
Mhm.
I see a tool that I like, I'll find out if they have an affiliate link, so I can share it. But basically, what this tool does is it does two things that then work with the Instagram algorithm. So, first of all, you can set up prompts and automations to send direct messages or to comment in response to somebody else's trigger action. And you would have seen this, as I said before, you may see creators saying something like, comment with the word Black Friday, and I will send you a link to my sales page.
Mhm.
What that's doing is encouraging people to comment on your content. Hello, engagement, amazing. But it's also triggering an automatic email or an automatic direct message to them and starting that conversation with a link or with, some information or an automated process where you go through and answer some questions. Now,
Okay.
this is really, really powerful because you're not taking people off the platform with your content. You're not saying
Mhm.
link in bio, right? Which I
Yeah.
think we're all getting a little tired of hearing this. So that using tools such as this, and I'm sure there's some other ones out there as well, but that is a great way to actually work with the algorithm so that you're still getting engagement. And it's really useful for the person who wants that, because when you jump on Instagram, you want to have a good scroll, you want to stay there, you want to see everything that your friends and family and your favorite brands are doing. You don't want to leave the platform. So if you see something that you want, you're like, oh yeah, I'd love that ebook, but I don't want to leave the platform and go and do it right now. By having it sent directly to your messages, you can go back and look at that later when you're ready to look at that. It also means, as the person sending it, I can then go and follow up with that person and ask them, did you
Yeah,
go
okay.
check out that webpage? Did you get that ebook? Did you use the sale coupon or whatever, the action was? So I think that's, a really good way to get that engagement, but by playing by Instagram's rules, essentially.
Yeah, I'm going to say it, Krisha. There's more ways to skin a cat.
Yep.
If you don't know, Krisha can't stand that phrase, and I have a tendency of using it maybe a little deliberately, maybe every other episode. Sorry, Krisha. I'm sure there's one that you say that I can't recall right now because I don't want to think about it and make you say it. So
Not sure.
I'll have to find it. So anyway, that's all 7 of them, of the engagement boosting tips that we have for you after major holidays. So community focused content, stories, especially because it's to your existing followers. They know you, they like you, they trust you. Use new features on a platform when you get access to them. Polls are an absolute brilliant feature, and it's pretty underutilized, I think, as well. Like, people don't understand the power of a poll. Go live, like we are doing at this point in time, and be proactive with your engagement. When you've got a few minutes to spare, go into comments, go and start chatting to people, go into the little comment mixers, as I like to call the comment section. And last but not least, work with the platforms that you're on. So that's all 7 of them. I think that's a pretty good amount of tips, I think. Is there anything else that we've missed, do you think? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
But listen, if you are listening at home, if you have some more ideas or something has worked really well for you, you know what to do. Slide into our DMs, let us know, and or let us know which of these tips you are going to try for your social media engagement.
Yes.
And what's working for you at the moment.
Yeah. Tag us in the posts that you use that, you created off the tips that we're giving you, and we'll definitely respond for sure.
Amazing. Yes. If you do a poll on stories, tag Mad Marketing Mums and we'll come over and give you a little bit of engagement and a bit of Insta love.
Do it. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Stay mad, and we'll see you on the next episode and the next Q&A live session. Bye-bye.
Yes.